Wow, it's been a while. Like, I've been gone as long as a pregnancy. 9 months. No, I didn't have a baby. I am a trans woman, as in I don't have the capability of ever giving birth to a child. So you might be wondering why it took this long to get back to Cartoon Network 64. There is a variety of reasons. The most notable reason is the fact that the marathon was getting bigger and bigger, and I didn't want to have to cut episodes out of the marathon. After watching more and more episodes was getting harder and harder, especially since Cartoon Network shows were getting more and more episodes. And there was also the fact that I wanted to do more Ryanimation reviews. So last year, I believed in June, I stated a rule to myself that I would resume Cartoon Network 64 after I finished the entirety of Season 3 of Ryanimation reviews. After 9 months of not getting enough progress in, I decided I didn't want to delay Cartoon Network 64 any longer. Besides, I'll always be doing Ryanimation reviews in the future, but CN64 is something special to me. And it's only a one-time thing where I am gonna take a look at all of these shows due to my busy life schedule. And I want to get this marathon back on the track, especially since people thought that I canceled the series, or even worse, forgot about it altogether. Anywho, without further delay...
Good morning to you. I'm Little Bo Peep.
Bah, bah.
Sheep in the big city.
Chapter 1. Sheep's Story. The Big City! A bustling metropolis full of over 1 million people, but only one sheep! And it's a rare Cartoon Network show that sort of disappeared during the time of Adult Swim's creation in the year 2001. A lot of people have told me that they never heard of this show. I can't say that I never heard of this show before the marathon, but it's always been put to the wayside. What is Sheep's Story? Well, it's revealed that when an evil funny man named General Specific has a ray gun that will fire and take over the world, he needs a certain sheep to have that specific ray gun fired. That sheep lives with Farmer John. And yes, Farmer is his first name.
Who names their kid Farmer?
So the sheep runs away into the big city, or more or less the farmer makes a dumb agreement to allow the military to have the sheep on weekdays and he would keep the sheep on the farm on weekends. Of course, Sheep gets away from this and he stays in the city for the rest of the show. Never anywhere specific in the city, just always random locations. Mostly apartments, but we usually just see him on the streets. This show's main strength is dialogue, but we'll get to that later. Let's first talk about the animation. The animation itself? Kinda mixed. It usually follows the 12 principles of animation, but can often look cheap and low budget. I mean, this was a hand-drawn show in the year 2000, and I guess CN was still doing experimental cartoons into the new millennium. Though, to be fair, the people who animated this show would go on to later animate Kids Next Door, so in a way this is kinda like a beta test for them. Luckily, the show doesn't really rely on slapstick because I would not say that it is the best in that regard. Because you can only make Lady Virginia Richardson hidden sheep with her steel wool wig for so long with the same animation.
So you've seen it before. I don't have unlimited resources, you know.
It is just a simple hit fixture, and the backgrounds have a similar problem that Pony Life had where the background colors are not colored inside the lines at all. I'm a little more forgiving of it here because it came out 20 years prior and with a really lower budget and hand-drawn, while Pony Life was more high budget and successful, and it came out right after My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which had fantastic animation, so Pony Life had no excuse. General Specific probably has the funniest of the animation. Whenever he speaks, his mouth technically does not move because he always has his teeth showing. They stylized it enough to avoid it not being lazy, and I do appreciate that. It could be distracting at times, but this is something that you would only notice if you really do study animation. If you're ever a casual viewer watching this, you probably wouldn't have this problem at all. Our cast I really enjoy for the most part, but it's really only the male characters that I enjoy, which gives me a feeling similar to something like Kid Cosmic where that show's only good characters are the male characters. But we'll talk about that show more when we get to Foster since it's a Craig McCracken show. Swanky the dog is just there. She's more like a plot device. I mean, she's nice to Sheep, so I can appreciate that, but she's really just a female plot device. Lisa Rento is bad because of her just not being fun and abusive to Sheep. Sure, she gets her consequences, but she's just not a fun character overall. And Virginia's main gimmick is that she's super rich. I mean, I do love her limo joke, but that seems to be about it. General Specific is our main villain. He is not smart, and the show is self-aware of this.
Try to find me something for these inexplicable memory lapses I've been having.
As he repeats himself like 5 seconds later.
And try to find me something for these inexplicable memory lapses I've been having.
I really do love him, and he's my main reason for why I keep coming back to the show. That and his assistant, Private Public. Yes, their names are puns. I mean, in the first episode, when we see other generals, they are other pun names like General Store. Oh, and by the way, Private Public is kind of like Smithers from The Simpsons. They both have a similar personality. If you don't like puns, this show might not be for you, because that's like a good 25% of the humor. 25% is surrealism, but let's talk about the 50% that makes this show one of the funniest Cartoon Network shows ever.
Beep, beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep, beep, I'm a sheep. Chapter 2, The Fourth Wall.
Hey!
What?
What are you doing on my show?
Why would you even call it your show anymore if you've been gone for 9 months? What did you do, have a baby?
I already stated that I can't have a baby in this video.
You did?
Yes, I did. Here, let me show you. Wow, it's, been a while. Like, I've been gone as long as a pregnancy. 9 months. No, I didn't have a baby. I am a trans woman, as in I don't have the capability of ever giving birth to a child.
Oh, you did talk about it at the beginning.
Yes, I did. Don't try to ruin my video.
Jeez, you don't have to be mad like that mad scientist.
Angry! Here's an angry scientist. That is literally his one fucking joke. How do you get that wrong?
Well, you're not making this sound like fun. Let's just fast forward to the end and see what the next show is. Ooh, Time Squad.
You love that show?
Nah, it's alright. So, when are you going to review that show?
In July.
July? Why can't you do it next week or maybe even tomorrow?
Well, first of all, why do you sound like Rube from SpongeBob?
I can't help it. He's amazing!
Okay, and secondly, it takes a long time to review these shows. Plus, I have my own big job that I usually do that takes up more time than my cartoon reviews.
Alright, but I can't wait for more reviews from you.
Finally, I can finish this. Chapter 2, The Fourth Wall. The thing that Sheep in the Big City is known for the most is its fourth wall humor. Literally every episode has at least one fourth wall joke. In some circle, I'm kinda surprised that this show is not that well known today, because a lot of modern humor involves the fourth wall, and memes as well. Now, fourth wall humor has been around since the beginning of animation, like I'm talking about the 1910s, with characters actually interacting with the creators. And even then, in the 1940s, we've had things like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes perfecting the fourth wall.
Oh, no you don't. Get back in your seat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People talk about shows like Chowder and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which both have less fourth wall jokes than Sheep in the Big City. Now, automatically breaking the fourth wall in of itself isn't an automatic joke. We have seen products in the past fail the fourth wall like Drawn Together.
It's right over there. Between Why You So Bitter About Being Canceled Land and you had 3 or 4 seasons, you should be happy with what you got. Most shows don't even get that land.
It's what you do with the fourth wall that makes it work. I mean, any random Joe Schmo can say, "Hey, look, the audience can see us!" It's what you do with the fourth wall that has to make it good. Did you ever hear the expression think outside the box and have a thought to yourself of a man thinking literally outside of a box?
We're going to have to start thinking outside the box.
Yeah, it's that kind of show. This show, half of its run, likes to break the fourth wall. And it's really good fourth wall humor. Honestly, I'm surprised that no one talks about it. In fact, a lot of modern SpongeBob humor comes from here. It has a similar style and tone. I still think SpongeBob does it better for the better exaggerated imagination. But like I said, Sheep in the Big City is better known for its dialogue than its animation.
And now, back to our heart-wrenchingly, spine-tinglingly exciting story!
I just love how those men were talking before the intermission ended. Sheep makes the fourth wall work, because it actually affects the story.
Are you still here?
But I'm having so much fun!
Will you let me do my job?
Sometimes it might be small and it can happen so fast that you may not even notice. And sometimes it can be like the series finale where the entire episode is just a fourth wall joke. It's a good series finale. I think this one is fun to watch, and it's called Behind the Scenes. Everything is a sheep pun. I mean, the literal ending has General Specific strangling the narrator.
Sheep has escaped yet again!
Will you please just shut up? Stop it! Will you just stop narrating?
And the show ends with Sheep ending up creating the intro to Sheep in the Big City.
His name is in the title of the show, sir.
So is the big city, Private, but you don't see the big city gallivanting off.
And now I think it's time to conclude this. Chapter 3, a woolly conclusion.
A sheep pun for the last chapter?
Well, the show also makes puns.
Whatever. Puns are bad and I hate making them. I just have a bad feeling about this.
Ha! You made a pun as well.
Drat, how could I not notice? I mean, how could I,
I can't believe that you did not notice that.
Just finish this Cartoon Network 64 episode.
I still think this is a good show. I don't think it will be top 10 best Cartoon Network show material. Like, it's not as good as Ed, Edd n Eddy since that show had a little bit more variety with its humor. It wasn't just the fourth wall, but it might be something that I would put at like number 11 or 12. This is a good show to watch. This show doesn't really have much continuity, so no need to watch it episode by episode. It was a fun show overall. Mike, Lou, and Og, I understand why no one talks about it. But Sheep in the Big City, that's so criminal. I don't know why no one talks about this one. And as always, we end each episode of Cartoon Network 64 with a Running Swede!
You know what really grinds my gears? There's no Galactic Kids Next Door. Ever realize how everyone is doing these stupid reboots, remakes, or spin-offs? Disney, Nickelodeon, you name it. Even Cartoon Network is bringing back live-action shows despite that failing. But to one show that ended on a cliffhanger that over 90,000 people wanted to see, Cartoon Network said no. Kids Next Door was my childhood. Would it be too much to give this show one final season? Samurai Jack got that luxury 13 years after it was cancelled, and it was beloved by many. It's been 13 years for Kids Next Door. Just greenlight it. I want to see what Nigel does in space and why he would be so fine destroying the Earth.
And what another fabulous performance by our Ranting Swede.